What's going on, guys? It's Cal here. So loads of people have been asking about the new strips, so I might as well introduce sort of the reasoning behind it and how the design came to be. So been testing NeoPixels for a long time now. Loads of research has been done as to which are the brightest, which are the most sort of user-friendly, things like that. Just ways in which you can make the NeoPixel blade building experience a bit faster, because obviously it takes quite a while to get it done. And people have tried different width strips, trimming the strips and things like that. And obviously a big chunk of the labor that goes into building the strips is sticking them on both sides and bridging pads and trimming them to the size that you want. So I started looking into the smaller size diodes, the 2427s, to see sort of how many I could fit on a rigid PCB, one that would be sort of simple to put inside of a blade. And after that I realized that whilst the animations were better because there was more LEDs on the first iteration of the rigid PCB strip, it wasn't as bright. And that's because the diodes are smaller. They're 24 by 27 as opposed to 50-50. So a few of the things that I decided to add was to have them with rounded tips, because one thing that I found when I was putting the NeoPixel blades together, whether it was for my personal installs or maybe making some blades for some other people, was that sometimes the corners would catch onto the foam. This is a 10mm wide strip, but you'll see that with the rounded tip, when I made a blade earlier today, it just slid really nicely in. I've made these 88 centimeters long, which is about 34.5 inches. So when you add a tip and put it in the blade with a holder, it comes up to about 36 inches, something like that. And they're not trimmable. Now, the reason why they're not trimmable was to maximize pixel density. So there's 264 or 267 LEDs on here, which works out to about just over 150 LEDs per meter. It's got nice simple solder pads, as you can see at the end there. I wonder if I can focus in. So it's got nice easy solder pads right there. Oh, it's not focusing for some reason. There we go. So simple solder pads, and it's 10mm wide. So these are the first samples that I've made. I might make them 8mm wide. I think I've got enough room to trim it down a little bit just to reduce side shadowing. And these are using SK6812s. So I consulted with Dimitri. He's been helpful with contributing his knowledge on his LED strip testing to see sort of which diodes are the best, and he gave me some useful information with that. And people are asking if they're flexible, but due to the length of them, they kind of flexible by nature, even though it's a rigid PCB. So you can see here they have flex. I mean, so that's quite interesting to see. They're on a 1.6mm FR4, so I might try 1mm. I was given some feedback to say maybe try 1mm thickness, and they might be even more flexible. I mean, you can see here, I mean, from the top of my head to the bottom of my beard, they can flex and still function. They're absolutely fine. So that was interesting. And I quickly whipped one up into a Verso board today. So you can see it's nice and bright, color changing. And this is in my workshop, which is all the lights are on right now. So definitely I've noticed a big brightness difference to sort of what I'm used to. And I'm really happy with how it's come out.
Low battery.
So I've got low battery, so the Saber's probably going to shut itself off soon. And then we've got red there. So I mean, in a brightly lit room, it's nicely illuminated. And yeah, so I'm going to do a bit more testing. I think the one thing that I need to do is it's a durability test, and then from there see how they hang up to just whacking it a little bit. I know that some people might want to be dueling with them, but seeing how much the blade itself can flex, in comparison to how much the strip can flex. I mean, the blades aren't going to flex that much from what I know. Maybe they do for some of these harder jewelers. Sometimes they can smack them so hard. And Devin, if you're watching this, I know that's you. So yeah. But yeah, we'll give it a go, and we'll see. Obviously, it's low battery, so it's still bright on low battery. I'm going to try and see what it's like when I fully charge the Saber, and just test it out really. See what I'm using my connectors for these ones, just because it was just to hand. So, and these stock ones, whilst they are great, I need to keep the stock for the store really. So yeah, I will keep everyone posted with regard to what's going on with this project. A lot of you are going to be asking what availability is like. Once I get them tested and approved and I'm happy with them, I don't want to rush production to anything, so I want to make sure that they're right before I get them out to you, because these are the type of items that if I start shipping them and there's issues, they're going to be a pain for people to return because they're long items. So I'd rather make sure everything's right and go from there. And in terms of pricing, these aren't going to be strips that are going to be like $100 or anything like that. The idea behind them is to try and make them cheaper than using flexible strips as well. Because if I can make them in big enough bulk, I could probably price match the cost of buying 2 individual strips. So this is basically the goal behind this, was to make installations faster, have a little bit of a brightness edge, and for average saber blades. For me personally, I'm really not too bothered about whether a blade is 34-inch or 36-inch, and that's just because I really like sabers. I turn them on a little bit, I whoosh them around, and I show them off like the hilt design, whatever, and I just show them to people, and they're very intrigued by them. But there are obviously a lot of customers out there who are very particular about their blade lengths, but a compromise had to be made, because by having a trimmable section within the LEDs to be able to, for people to adjust the lengths that they want, it would reduce the pixel density. And I wanted something that was just had an edge over the standard like BTF lighting strips and stuff like that. So anyway, that's just a little update with regard to those strips. And a quick update regarding the Verso board. The samples that were made recently weren't made properly. That's basically what happened. They read the Gerber files wrong and they're remaking them now. And those samples were for me to send to beta testers. So now that I'm caught up in the Profi V2 group buy, it's a bit of a nightmare finding time to make sure that the Verso is ready to go. But don't worry guys, I'm on it as quickly as I can and trying to get it done ASAP for all of you. It will be done within the next sort of 8 weeks, I'd say. But right now, the samples need to be made again for me to test. I then need to send them out to some beta testers who I've spoken to and get them to give it a go. So, like I said, I just don't want to release anything that's got problems. I want to make sure that it's all right. And anyway, the Profi V2 group buy is going to keep me busy for the time being, and I'll make sure everyone gets their stuff that they're due and that they've ordered. So, yeah, the strips are an exciting thing. Because I think that this is a nice little step forward with regard to NeoPixel technology, and installing these, like, I've done my blade really quickly. It was just a few wires and then it slid straight into the foam. No faffing about really. But yeah, I hope you guys like them, and I'll do some more tests and share my progress. In the meantime, adios.